and clear. And making them cheer. Put your hands up high, let me hear you loud and clear. I'm lost and advocates, yeah, that's how we roll. Chasing redemption, yeah, we got that girl. From the darkness to light, we're taking control. From the cell to the studio, we're telling it whole. Got a story to tell, no shame, no blame. Used to be locked up, but now we're changing the game. We're sharing real stories, got Jerry in the booth. Free bird, riding high, dropping nothing but the truth.
What do you know about a Freebird shout out? That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Outlaws to Advocates. We're back. We're doing the dang thing. Joel has us on his podcast, Playing Loud. That's awesome. Thank you, Joel.
Sorry, we'll
You got
take
it.
all the views we can get
Doesn't matter.
anytime.
You're the only the one viewer, so we're good to go.
Here we go.
Welcome everybody that's here. Both viewers, that's Jeremy and Joel. So awesome. We got two of them on there so far. Episode 13, man. We're getting there. I know we had a 21 goal was a milestone for us, and we're almost to that 21 goal. So let's go ahead and get started. Joel, why don't you introduce yourself, man?
What's up? My name is Joel.
Nice, Joel. And what are you trying to talk about tonight?
Well, when Jesse asked me to come up with a topic, the first thing that came to mind was PTSD. It's what I don't know, that's what's been in my life real popular the last couple of years. And of course, for years and years and years before that. So, but wherever you want to take it.
When did you realize you had PTSD? When did you get diagnosed? When did you self-diagnose? Whatever that looks like.
So I kind of heard about PTSD and, figured, okay, I might be a pretty good candidate for that. But it wasn't until about 2.5 years ago, I went into New Freedom and got seen on televideo, whatever, telehealth, and with a psychiatrist. Told her everything that's going on. And anyways, long story short, agreed to start some medication. And agreed to pretty much not come up for air until I get this thing figured out, and so that started my journey of the whole learning how to live with PTSD. It was about a year-long journey, and now it's maintenance. But first it was getting educated on it. Then it was doing what people call the work, which was a lot of treatment, horse therapy, EMDR therapy, CBT, DBT, CPT, talk therapy under a weighted blanket, with a trauma therapist. The horse therapy helped big time, That's when I really started getting better. And then that led into a whole nother onset of recovery for me.
Also, 'cause mental health's important, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just the
Yeah.
drugs. The drugs. I heard a guy yesterday. It was pretty awesome. He goes, people aren't going to like this, but drugs aren't the problem.
Right.
They're the solution.
They was my solution.
Right.
Absolutely.
And even though it's a solution that's going to destroy us and
Yeah.
pull us down, we have to stop looking at the drugs like they're a problem. Why are people using the drugs?
Absolutely.
Right? That kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, substance use was a part of your life, right?
Yeah, big part of my life. And so, I guess, you have to. You want me to share a little bit about why the PTSD? What happened? So, it had been prolonged. So I have what's called CPTSD, which stands for chronic or complex PTSD. And the definition of that is that you have had PTSD that has been untreated. And so I tried to treat it with substance abuse. So I had a brain injury in 2007 in prison. This whole side of my face is faked. I taped titanium plate, 65 screws. I had to learn to walk and talk again. It took about 6 months. you know. Anyway, so the traumatic brain injury.
Do you mind if I ask, you said you had a brain injury in prison?
Mhm.
What, for, some people might not understand, some people might be curious, if you're comfortable with it, what happened? Like, how do you get an injury like that in prison?
So, yeah, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, you know. I can talk a little bit about it, but I know you guys know it well. So, you know, I was involved in a prison gang, and you know, there's a lot of fighting about money and drugs, and that's what it was about. You know, and they sent in a guy on me, and I sent him packing. So they wanted to make a point, so they sent in 2 more. You know, real big guys. And anyways, long story short, I picked one of them up. We dumped over on my cheek. My face shattered. I lost consciousness. Woke up in a helicopter. 7.5-hour facial reconstructive surgery. 14 days in ICU. You know, and more trauma right then and there. You know, they kept me cuffed by my wrist and ankles to a hospital bed for 7 days. It was a real traumatic experience, you know.
I can imagine. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so I know the story too, and I thought it was really badass that you went right back to that same yard too.
Right
You
on.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your heart's massive. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. They were a little mad. They were mad that they didn't figure out what the problem was. And on the doctor's report, it says that that I slipped in the shower, you know. And yeah, I went back to the same yard, same cell, everything. And it's real funny because that's when I started to change my outlook on life. I had this spiritual experience during this whole ordeal, you know, part of an out-of-body experience too. And I got to just say that my outlook on prison and life and people changed overnight. So, and I started, so long story short, I put down the, what I was doing in there, you know. And it wasn't a big deal, nothing you guys haven't done, you know. I was running the building and, you know, and part of a bigger picture, so I thought, and making really good money, you know. To me, prison turned to be a money-making proposition, and I made a lot of money in prison. But it almost cost me my life. I also became part of something in there that just about killed me, you know. And went after it for acceptance, protection, to be part of something, to help me do my time, status, you know, to get what I wanted, you know. And
Killed the old you.
oh yeah. 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 And so when I got out of prison, I was doing real well for a couple years. Started a paint company, recovering, sober, you know. Started this ministry inside prison called Overcomers for Christ, and which is a newsletter. And a couple people on the street were part of it, helping me. So we had Overcomers from the inside, and me and Micah Morse were the authors.
I know Michael Morse.
Yeah,
He
so
was,
me and
he was my neighbor at Graham. He got another 10 years, you know?
I know that. Yeah, yeah. So me and him, we were the authors of the inside, couple pages, you know, and then Duck, Wade Anderson, he was the outside, you know, and he's really the author of the newsletter and the one that got it going. And I think even to this day, it's in over something like, I don't know, like 300 different countries and prisons.
That's pretty impressive.
It is pretty
That's
cool.
pretty impressive.
yeah.
Just shout out real quick. Old Chip's on here. Said hello.
Yeah.
And
Chipper.
Holly Escudero, she's the one who got me credentialed as a peer support while I was incarcerated.
Nice.
Ryan Ross from Rockview Recovery's on here. I see Callie Rogers.
Aaron's on there.
Aaron's, yeah, she was the first one on there.
Mr.
Bun-
Mr.
bun-
Landon.
Bunch of great people on here,
Yeah,
man. So
incredible.
welcome everybody. We're talking to
Welcome.
Joel. We're getting this story. Hey, Holly, what's going on? So awesome that everybody's joining us. Sorry to interrupt you, Joel. Go ahead.
No,
man.
no. It's your show, man.
Joel, can you tell us a little bit about Death Row? I know at one part of
Yeah,
your life you spent some
yeah.
time on Death Row.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good to talk about.
So, and that's it's a cool topic to talk about. That was part of what led to post-traumatic stress with me also, because I didn't get sentenced from the street to go do a death row sentence. I committed a crime inside prison and was placed there while my case was investigated. After 13 months on death row, they came in, rolled me up, said your case is closed, you're going to a 4-yard, you have an out date, you know, and I was like, I'm good, I'll stay right here, you know. I had definitely become institutionalized and learned how to do my time in a cell, you know. And they say it's 23/7, lockdown 23 out for 1 hour, you know, 20 or 20, whatever, you know. It's not, you know, it's 24/7 lockdown. And I say that because they come around about 2 or 3 in the morning and they tap real lightly on your cell door. Rick, you know. yeah. So it's like, man, get the hell out of here. It's 3 in the morning. I'm not going to cuff up and go. And I did a couple times just because.
Change your pace, right?
Yeah, but. And nobody else really did either. We would just stay in ourselves, you know. But real interesting time in my life, you know. It definitely was going to either make me or break me. And thank God I was able to author or write, pen pal with this author of this book called We're All Doing Time by Bo Lozoff.
Oh, I love that book. That's a great book.
Right on. So that got me through that 13 months.
It's the yoga book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. And so he was in a year-long year of silence, but he would pen pal with me. So he wrote to me, and he taught me how to do time, you know. He taught me how to meditate. He taught me how to do yoga. And so I would spend my first 3 hours of the day meditating and doing yoga, you know.
That's phenomenal. That year of silence thing, what an awesome idea, Jesse. I bet you can't do that.
Absolutely not. But one more thing I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss for some of our viewers that might not know you, Joel. Joel, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and maybe what might have led you to
Yeah.
that whole situation and how you got into that?
Yeah, so childhood was, and I kind of, looking through my eyes, I think everybody's childhood is messed up, but that's not, I guess, the case.
Our normals are normals,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
you think it applies
yeah.
everywhere, and then
Yeah.
you
Joel-
learn it doesn't.
Joel, my grandpa died and my parents got divorced.
Okay.
Now let's hear a little bit about Joel.
Let's hear about what you went through,
All right.
okay? Because I'm going to tell you.
Well, that's tough too, you know.
It may have been tough, Joel, but like, you're my dude, bro.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
We love
Me and
Joel.
Jeremy go way back, way back.
We love Joel.
And I like to talk a little bit about that because, man, you talk about a brother, man, he's been the best brother I've ever had, you know. And I'll get into that a little later. But so childhood, Mom was 15 years old when she had me. We lived on 3rd Street in Van Buren, right on the Holstroll, or the Strip, or you know, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but Mom was a prostitute most of my life, and it was rough to get old enough to find out what she was doing, you know. Now what comes along with that is trauma, you know. So I shared my bed with a 20-year-old female when I was 5 years old, and was able to learn the difference between a male and a female, you know. And so I shared this bed with this girl who was a prostitute, and we lived with a pimp. And I usually share this by saying between the ages of 2 and 10, I had more sex with males and females than most kids do in high school and college put together. You know, so I was really, had a confused upbringing. And so I was that kid in 7th grade in the locker room that would not take off my clothes and dress out. You know what I mean? I was that messed up about stuff. So when I was old enough to carry a gun, my mom taught me how to pimp her out so she wouldn't have to have sex to get the money, you know. And that turned into a little bit of a thing, you know. And that, you know, by 15 years old, I was, had shared, you know, we'd been sharing needles with my mom, and was a full-blown IV drug user by 15, went to juvenile prison for 6 counts of grand theft auto. And that, of course, graduated me into more crime, you know. And I learned how to sell drugs, and I learned how to do drugs, and I learned how to sell women, and I learned how to protect women on the street, you know. So with that came a lot of ugly stuff, you know, that I probably shouldn't have seen or been part of or been around. So by the time I was, like, let's see, so I did a year juvenile, 3 years of probation. Anyways, just enough to get me ready to go to prison. And in my early 20s, started going to prison, you know. Went in there at first for, and I got a little over 10 years total, but that started out with, I think, a 1.5 or a 2.5 year sentence that ended me up on death row. So you talk about a major change from a 2-yard to a supermax custody yard. My mind had been, you know, drastically affected, you know. Where am I at? Sorry, I'm
No,
kind of
you're good. No,
thinking
it's all
about
good.
this
You
as
said
I'm.
You went through the 2-yard stuff. You caught that. You caught a charge in there with,
Yeah.
under 2A investigation. They put you in death row, and that warped your mind a little bit.
Totally. Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on here, doing the sharing, talking to about us about all this stuff. For you to
And-
be in your head a little bit. We get it, man.
Yeah, a
we
little
get
bit,
it.
a
It's
little
all
bit.
good.
And here's the thing, too, George. This is where I'm coming from. There is no statutes of limitations in Arizona, so I'm a little careful when I talk about any of this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, you know,
Well, you'd establish what you're desensitized, man. You have a new normal from an operating system from which you see and view the world and your reaction, right? This CPTSD, it's you drive from those emotionally charged memories every day. So
Every day.
your state of hypervigilance is what your normal is,
right.
right?
Well, when we talk about normal too, like somebody on the street that might not understand substance use, they might see, you know, a homeless person and think, oh, look at that junkie, look at that drug addict.
Sure, I did.
But they don't
you know.
see they don't see what you've gone through. They don't see
Right.
what we've gone
Right.
through.
Yeah.
They don't see any of that. All they see is that somebody that's using.
So,
And there's so much more to
yeah,
that.
there is. And
And the really good news is we only have about 7 listeners, and we know all of them, so you're safe, bro.
okay.
Yeah. This is great.
So, and I guess, so moving forward, the trauma just started piling up, right? And, you know, I'd been out of prison a couple years before I relapsed. And, see, I don't know if I'm supposed to use names or if I can use names or
Do the best you can, brother, from the heart.
Yeah.
Where you at now in life?
where am I at now?
Yeah, let's talk about the good stuff. Where you at now?
Yeah. So I'll just tell you what's happened in the past month, and then I can maybe bring you forward to that. So in the past month, I have passed my contractor's license test. You know?
Nice.
I'm a little over 2.5 years sober.
Did you say you passed your contractor's license test?
Yes.
Yeah. We're fancy. We got special effects.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So I did that. I also got off probation. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
For people
And-
like us, that's a big deal without violating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's a
huge.
big deal.
Yeah, that's a major success.
Showing up for probation is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let alone getting off it. That's awesome.
Right.
That's a big
Right.
one. Man.
It is. It is.
Congratulations.
It is. Yeah. What else? I have gotten a pretty big raise in my work. You know, I work at New Freedom. That's another thing. I went through New Freedom as a member, volunteered there for 6 months, and now I run the vocational painting program. You know.
That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to write a curriculum. They've given me full autonomy over the class. So I've really stepped into this position that I believe God made me for. You know, I'm a journeyman painter by trade. I can paint in my sleep, you know. So what a great fit to have a peer support certification, to be a journeyman painter, and to be in the position that I'm in, which is teaching people how to paint from a recovery standpoint. So the name of my class is called, it's pretty funny, nowhere but New Freedom. It's called Commercial Painting / Peer Recovery Development. So they go hand in hand, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can teach vocational skills. I don't care where you're at, whether it's where you work at, where anywhere. And vocational skills are great.
Yeah.
Knowing how to paint, that's absolutely a skill.
Right.
That's 10% of our life.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
good decision making, right?
Yes.
Having a peer support doing it.
Totally.
The company I work with outside of here, Persevere,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking to hire another instructor for their or teaching assistant for their classroom, and they want to bring in a peer support now because they see the value that comes from it. You know, you can learn coding, but we have to learn life too, regardless of what that skill is.
Yeah.
So
You know,
I love the name, I love the title, I love your role.
I don't know, but if you know, if I hire or bring somebody in my home, I'd sure want to know that they're a God-fearing, sober individual.
Right.
You know, that knows how to
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
So the name of my
that'd be
painting.
great.
Oh, and that's another thing. I've started a paint company, and I'm about to be licensed. So I got the LLC. It's called Prodigal Sons Painting, and it's a second chance employer. And my goal is to build the company up to be able to hire ex-felons, you know, and continue teaching them how to paint. You know, so I've been doing painting this whole last 2.5 years also, and I make twice as much money painting as I do peer supporting, you know, or teaching painting, you know. So, but I make that sacrifice because of the reward that I get from helping people, you know.
Absolutely. Mark Starr came on here and he said he appreciates your vulnerability, Joel. Thank you for sharing your experience. Holly said, awesome.
Cool.
Kelly Rogers said, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, fire.
Right on. Right on. Thank you guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
buddy.
and I tell
Holly
you
wants
what
some of
helps
us
me.
to come down to Manzanita. So she's the RSAT manager down there. I don't know her title, but the reentry coordinator, I think, for
Oh, nice.
Manzanita. So she
Get
wants
us in, we'll all come down.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And it's because it's so powerful, man. What we're all doing and the impact that we make. You know, it's unbelievable. But who better to do it than us, right? Because I guarantee this, man. I would not listen to anybody else. You know, the people that helped me get where I'm at today. Jeremy being one of them. You know, he picked me up after I graduated from New Freedom, and just amazing. You know, me and Jeremy know each other from the streets. You know, we ran tough. He was a roommate of mine. He was muscle. He was a hustle partner. And one of my biggest protectors I've ever had in my life. You know, he literally terrorized a neighborhood to where this certain gang called me up and was like, "Hey, dude, your boy is kicking down every door in the neighborhood and it's causing a big ruckus. You got to call him off." And I'm like, "Well, what does he want?" "He wants you. He heard you're out here. He heard you're using drugs. He wants to rescue you." And I'm like, "Don't tell him where I'm at." And they're like, "No, we have to, bro." And let me tell you, this guy that's having this conversation with me, he's not like a pushover, right?
Right.
He's a stone cold killer. Tell me, call your boy, man. Tell him to stop terrorizing us, you know? And I'll tell you what, man, you never want to see Jeremy on drugs, man. It's not a good sight. But what a good feeling it was to have somebody kicking in doors for me because he wanted me to.
That wasn't a police officer, right?
Yeah, really cool. But so then he's working at Northside Recovery because I went on to 6 more months of inpatient intense treatment after Northside. And I get in the car with Jeremy. He picks me up from New Freedom to take me to Northside. And he's like, he just looks over at me and he smiles and laughs. And you know, I can't put together anything in my head, you know. So I'm like, what's so funny, you know? He's like, I just love you, man. And I'm like, well, don't worry, I'm gonna get it together, you know. And he's like, I know you will. And I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get it together, but I knew at least I was around people that knew me, that if I didn't get it together, they would be there to catch me, you know. So thank God. So I went on to this Northside Recovery, and the PTSD became a big issue, you know. I didn't know how badly I was affected by it. I didn't know. I guess I need to back up a little bit and tell you the other cause of my post-traumatic stress is a physical and a mental and emotional, okay? So the physical is the brain injury. The emotional is part of this story I'm about to tell you is 2 years out of prison, 2012, I had fallen back into dope, you know, and was selling drugs, had moved up to become a supplier of heroin, you know, would run it across the border, process it over here, would bring the paste across here and process it in Phoenix. And anyways, I became a supplier and gave my mom some heroin and it killed her. Now, that I had seen Mom OD many times, you know what I mean? So I wasn't like convinced that she was gonna die, right? But I was so messed up, I was so high that I couldn't do what I was supposed to do, you know, like talk to the cops, the doctors. It was a bad deal. Anyways, so I lost my whatever sanity I had, dove headfirst into the dope, and for the next 10 years, spent the last couple years of that homeless on the streets, living under the bridge at 28th Drive in Cactus for years. And I held up a sign saying homeless, hungry, help. What a traumatic thing that was too. So like you said, you know, you never know what people are going through that are sitting on the side of the road. And I was going through too much. It was too much for me to handle. I wanted to be so far away from everybody that I just stayed homeless, you know. And until I got arrested for sales to an undercover cop. And that's what brought me into New Freedom. But so that really flipped out my whole PTSD stuff, right? I have night terrors, anxiety through the roof, you know. And even right now, you know, I take the #1 prescribed medicine for PTSD, and it works, you know. So does 12 Steps. So does my sponsor. So does my friends, my social support network. So does the therapy that I do. I was so messed up at Northside Recovery, the doctor of that program wrote me a prescription for a horse. So I got me a horse.
Yeah.
They gave you a horse.
They gave me a horse. Yeah. So
Garrett Dietz is on here. He said, Joel, thank you for your vulnerability. This stuff saves lives. I agree with him.
I agree.
what up, Garrett?
Yeah.
Yep, Garrett came and spoke for us at Crossroads West, man. Yeah, I'm glad he's in the fight because he's another one. He's another soldier that is got a purpose now. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us some good stuff, Joel.
Good stuff.
Tell us the good
Yeah.
stuff. What's the best thing you got going on right now?
Well, I also was just approved for a $400,000 home loan, which in home loans is not a lot, is what I'm finding out. but I can build a house from the ground up. So any house I do get, it's not going to matter, I don't think, because I've been looking at houses and figuring out how I'm going to do this. But, you know, my credit score has gone up 100 points. I'm part of the 700 club now.
Yeah.
You know, I got like
Yeah,
a
buddy.
743. You know, my life is literally
What's your social?
5 2. Yeah, I better protect that now.
That's
Yeah.
all.
I used to not
absolutely.
care about my
Yeah.
people have my social, but
I was like, you steal my ID, it's gonna mess up your credit, right?
yeah,
Now we get our stuff together, it's a different
it's a
story.
different deal. Yeah.
Yeah. All I used to do is give it to state agencies so they'd hopefully take care of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do they say? County born, state raised, and federally funded all my life. You know?
Yeah.
Not anymore, man.
Not anymore.
Now you're
no.
working,
Yeah.
you got your own business,
Yeah.
you just got your contractor's license,
Yeah.
you just got approved for a $400,000 home loan.
Yeah.
Like, human being status, once again,
It's a trip,
right?
man. Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, I just want to say, Joel, these last 6 months we've been hanging out pretty tough, man. And I can honestly say you've become one of my closest friends.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
love you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an honor to have all three of you as a friend. You know, I look at you guys as, you know, well, besides George, I'm probably the oldest one around here, but
Hey, man,
actually, I'm probably older than him too.
where you at?
50.
On the dot?
Yeah.
Me too, when's your birthday?
January 14th,
You ain't got that.
74.
June 14th. You're 6 months older than me, to the day.
You don't got no gray on there, bro.
No gray, bro.
No,
And
they
your
got hair
brother
that-
hates that.
they
Your
got-
brother,
they got
he
just for
picks,
men,
he
dude.
picks through my hair every day, bro, trying to find a gray hair. Yeah. Jason does. Oh, he's so pissed, bro. He's so pissed. He thinks I color my hair.
Do you?
One of those brushes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here- oh, we just got a question in the chat. Do you color your hair, Joe? Joel?
No, I don't.
That wasn't the question
I
in the chat.
don't. I don't. I
I
don't.
had to
do
ask
it.
that for Jason.
You know what? If I just stress myself out a little bit more, get a PTS diagnosis, and
Matt-
lived under a bridge, my hair wouldn't go gray.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Matt Barrett came on here.
What up,
he
Matty?
said Joel has moved to mountains to create the life he has today. He is a rock star. Absolutely.
He is
Yeah,
a
we all
rock
love
star.
you, bro. We
Hey,
all
Well, that's-
Curtis, January 18th. Happy birthday coming up.
Cool. And that's cool for someone like Matt to even say something like that to a guy like me, because Matt's somebody that has, you know, talk about 360. You know, they call us 360s at New Freedom, the ones that go through as a member and then come back to work as a staff member. Which to me, all you guys are, because you started out the same place I did and had to go through the same thing I did to get where we're at today. But I love Matt's story, man. You know, probably
We'll get him on here one of these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
He's
Absolutely.
dragging his feet a little bit. We'll get Matty on here.
Oh, he's coming.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's awesome. He's also my boss, so I'm trying not to get fired. So.
Oh, is he? Oh, all right. Yeah. That's probably a good boss. Yeah.
He's great. Great
Yeah.
to work for. Super supportive. I love. Absolutely love my job, man.
Great testimony, brother.
But yeah, you coming on here today and sharing, because it's pretty easy to talk about the winning and the transformation and what that looks like, but having the conversation that you had and sharing the stuff that you shared in an environment like this as it shows you've made peace with whatever has happened.
I have. I'll tell you what healed me, you guys. Well, it wasn't just one thing, but I'll tell you the biggest jump I made was I had a nervous breakdown driving. Because another thing, so 2 weeks after my mom died, I went through a windshield of a truck going about 50, hit a light pole, launched out of the truck, hit by 2 other cars, broke both my arms, ribs, all the windshield in my whole head, you know, just bleeding profusely. Anyways, now I forgot my train of thought, man.
The windshield did it.
The windshield did it, yeah. Anyways, so I left the truck in the middle of the intersection, you know. The driving. I can't drive. My motorcycle's one thing. Oh, that's another thing I got, George. I got a badass Harley Davidson.
Nice.
That's pretty nice,
Yeah.
man.
I love it. I love
job,
it.
man.
And you talk about wind therapy, man.
And it's not stolen.
And it's not stolen, because I've never had a bike that wasn't stolen.
Yeah.
And it feels good, man. It
You go to
feels
the
good.
Harley to get the parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to Harley to get the thing washed, oil changed. I don't do nothing, man. I don't sit out in the garage tweaking on it until it, fixing it till it's broke, I don't fix it. I let the professionals do that. And yeah, anyways, it's a good thing. I had a train of thought going there for a second.
You got a lot of positive feedback, Joel.
Oh, really?
A lot of people, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Kevin said Joel has recovered from a seeming
yeah.
hopeless state of mind and body. It's
Totally.
been amazing to watch his journey.
Cool.
Garrett's talking to Maddie, saying what's up, and a lot of people love you, man. Callie Rogers got on there too earlier. I'm trying to see where she's at. She
Kaylee,
said-
yeah, she's a good friend of mine.
She said, Joel, you don't give yourself enough credit for the holy power that runs through you. He's right. You move mountains. So not only do you have a great attitude,
You got a lot
you
of
have a
people
ton of
love you.
support.
Mhm.
And even
Absolutely.
Erin
That's cool.
Yeager, or a friend of ours, she said you can definitely drive now. So,
Yeah, she actually let me drive her car.
oh, see, that's
Yeah.
living proof. right?
Yeah, but you know, I struggle with driving, but I do it. So everything, and I want to make this point, and you guys, I'm sure this will resonate with you. This life is not, it's not easy, but it's easier than what we did, but what we used to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I heard this saying, man, hard choices, easy life. If you can make the hard choices, you're going to have an easy life. If you continue to make easy choices, you'll have the life that we're trying to come out of, you know. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life.
Absolutely.
And
Just before this, I was complaining about my schoolwork, right? And as you're talking about this, I'm like, man, I work my ass off to stay high, like 24/7.
Yeah.
I got to spend 2 hours tonight working on a paper. Who gives a shit?
yeah,
right?
no, really, man, really, yeah. It's easy. Sometimes we have to compare it to that. You know what I mean? When people ask me, "How you doing?" Man, I'm winning. I'm winning at life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's coming from the desperation that was going through me, sitting in a prison cell, not knowing what my future was to hold, and to get a second chance at life. And I can't say that I got it right the first time either. You know, the second chance was an overall deal right now. You know, because I stumbled. You know, and I look up to you guys to get out of prison and do what you're doing, man. I've been out of prison 14 years, and 12 of those years has been a worse prison than death row, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were locked up way before. I know I was locked up way before I went to prison. I know you
Absolutely.
guys feel the same way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Having-
you know, honestly, I can say that, you know, in prison this time around is where all my dreams were born.
Right?
Anything that I ever wanted for myself, I put into action while incarcerated. And just today, for the first time, I looked in one of my white boxes, and I have 14 journal boxes of daily entries that I'm going to put into a book
Oh,
over
yeah.
the next coming
That's
couple of
awesome.
years.
That's awesome.
I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And me and Jeremy spent a couple years on the yard together. And man,
I am so sorry.
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was great. We had a good time.
You don't ever want to fight him though, bro.
Aaron said you can
He's a good-
navigate difficult parking situations. That's why he's my friend.
I remember you did. You came over to me and you're like, "Hey, man, these dudes kind of like know something, you know, about like what happened, like to
Oh,
me
yeah.
and stuff." And I'm like, "Good."
Yeah. So here's a cool story. So they were sending people from Kaibat over to this yard we were on, and their mission was to come get JT, right?
Yeah.
And all three of them rolled up in the middle of the night, man. I didn't have to fight any of them. There was no backlash. But the favor I had on that yard, man, around people that had saw me come back from something that almost killed me, and to take another stab at life, they were my biggest protectors, man. I would feel sorry for anybody that would have tried anything to me, not because of me, but because of my friends, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Mr. Skinner.
You know
Yeah,
it.
lo-
Yeah.
love Mr. Skinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joseph Skinner.
Skinner, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome when you start doing the right thing. You put the right people in your life. How things tend to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just it's almost it's unexplainable.
It is.
How,
It is.
how things go.
Yeah.
It's the same way out here, man. Who you want to surround yourself with some of that positive light, man, to keep you protected.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like it's easy like for us to sit here, show me who your friends and I'll show you who you are,
Right.
right?
Right. And it's so, man, I tell that to people all the time, you know. I like being like most of my friends, I believe are better than me, you know? And that's on purpose, whether it's just a belief or whether it's the truth. Some of my best friends are like trauma therapists, you know, clinical directors, you guys, you know what I mean, managers and teachers of recovery, and that's what I'm attracted to. Just like in the dope game, I was attracted to the biggest dealer, you know. Same thing in recovery, man.
Kelly
It's-
said, "What are you talking about? You're right up there with everybody." I agree with her, 100%.
Well, I appreciate that.
I get the mindset.
Yeah, the
I
mindset.
I
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
get the mindset.
yeah. And again, you know how it's different looking through your own eyes, because I'm looking through those eyes that was that kid that was sexually abused for 10 years, that man that almost lost it in prison. I'm looking through my eyes, so I haven't accepted, like, I guess my role in life really to the fullest extent of. But I'm glad because I guess it will keep me humble, you know.
Oh, we can see your role clearly, brother.
Okay.
We can see it clearly, bro. You can't. The thing is, you can't teach that fire that you just spoke, bro.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You had to experience it to be able to breathe that, bro.
Yeah.
You can't teach that.
Yeah.
The fact that you've gone through that and overcame it, you're gonna help a lot of people, bro. You are helping a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
100%. Doing stuff like this, like I just got a message the other day. I have a little website, like a personal thing I do for my speaking stuff. And somehow a guy that listened to this podcast sent me a message on there, and it came through about his brother in North Carolina and how the message that was on here affected them, the stuff that we had said. And that was by accident. That was like a ripple effect, because obviously we don't know that guy in North Carolina, but he still benefited from this conversation. The cool thing is a lot of the intentional stuff we do at work, we all work in behavioral health, all four of us. We all talk behavioral health. We all walk behavioral health, which is more important, because I know a bunch of people that work in behavioral health that don't do the walking and the talking.
Right.
But everybody here does. And those effects, right? It's cool to see the wins that we're able to see, and that feels good, and that's great, whatever. But the ripple effects of what we're doing, we'll never see that. There's no way to quantify it. There's no way to know what it is.
Right.
All we can keep doing every day is being the best version of ourselves, helping people. We can't save anybody, right? But we can love everybody,
Right.
right? And that's
right.
what we're doing. And for you to come on here and share that powerful of a story with us, just because Jesse was like, "Hey, man, we need somebody,"
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it happened. Like,
Yeah.
it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome to show up. It's awesome to be a part of this. Kind of like when I go to the prisons on Friday, every Friday night. And every Friday day, I'm like, "Oh, fuck, man, I got to go to the prison tonight. And I don't want to go. I'm tired. It's the end of the week." But as soon as I get there, I'm energized. I have that same thing on Wednesdays. I'm like, "Oh, man, I got the podcast tonight." But then as soon as we start doing this, I see why we do it, right? We get stories like this. We have conversations like this. And the most important part is we're going to help somebody tonight. Right?
Yeah.
And that's such a good feeling. I know for me, after I just took from this whole entire world every chance I get, family, friends, and loved ones, whoever was in the way, and now just to sit here and to be able to give back and to listen and to share, man, it's a beautiful experience. So
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you coming on here tonight, man.
Well, in the same breath, what an honor, you know?
Awesome, bro.
What an honor, man. I'm sitting around the table with some straight up gangsters, you know? And
Gangsters of love, hope dealers.
hope dealers, yeah. But I mean, we were, you know, we just black and white, just complete opposites, you know? We were completely opposite, you
Yeah.
know?
That's
And it's
amazing,
just,
isn't it?
it's
You're
crazy.
right, man. You're right, Joe. I mean, truly the most gangsters thing you could ever do is love yourself with abandon after everything that you've gone through. And to watch you rise up above that and radiate love towards your community and those around you is the most gangster shit ever.
Yeah, I love you, bro. I mean,
Dude, I
you are an
absolutely
amazing friend, an
love
amazing
you.
person, and that was an amazing testimony. You know, one of my favorite quotes, and this is something that I live by, and sometimes in the mornings I'll say it out loud to myself, is that, you know, saving one person may not change the world, but it can change the world for that one person
Mm-hmm.
and that one person's family and everyone that one person interacts with. And if that is all that is affected by this work, that one person, that one person's family, that one person's kids. That makes it worthwhile.
Yeah,
You know.
totally.
Now it's just what we do, man.
Yeah,
We
I know.
Show
Yeah,
up, bro.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's just what we do.
Maddie, who I thought doesn't ever get tired, my boss who shows up before me
Never
and
gets
stays late.
tired.
Never, dude. He said, I'm wore the F out, and you guys are energizing me right now. Much love. Keep it up.
Right
We're
on.
doing the wrong thing, Maddie, because the last thing we should be doing is giving you energy, man. Get some rest, dude.
Yeah.
He got 6 jobs. He don't get tired.
You got 6 jobs. You don't get tired.
You know, and one of the things that I wish we almost shared more about, or should maybe write a book about, is like the first 90 days after whatever treatment or getting out of prison. You know, it's so crucial. And what we went through to get here is a lot of stuff, you guys. I remember I went off one time at Northside Recovery, lost my stuff over a milk cap. Okay? My room was next to the kitchen, and part of my PTSD is loud noises, bright lights, you know, classic PTSD stuff. And then, of course, the prison stuff, you do not wake up somebody, especially by yelling, okay? And so at 4 o'clock in the morning, this guy...
They called me down that day, too. Right? They called me to come talk to you that day.
Well, yeah, they
I remember that
did,
was
because I told them,
milled
I
a
said,
milk cap-
listen...
milk cap. It was a milk cap.
What
It
ended
was
up
a milk
happening,
cap, yeah.
Joel? What ended up
Well,
happening?
let's
Do
just,
tell.
hold on, let's, you know, milk caps are serious, bro, you know, it's a serious
So
thing.
what ended up happening?
First of all, what is a milk cap? Talking about the cap that goes on the top of a container?
Yeah,
Okay.
a gallon of milk.
I didn't
yeah.
know if it was slang for something or I was missing something.
Well, this guy couldn't find it, you know, and so he wanted to let the house know that, where the fuck is the milk cap? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's how I woke up.
Yeah.
And so, let's just say that I really wanted to make sure he got that fucking milk cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's where the change started, right? I said, listen, I'm not gonna stay here because something's about to go down, and I gotta go. So, called Jeremy Shaw. You tell him to pick me up over here. I'll be at an AA meeting hall, which I walked around for about an hour trying to find. And I get to the meeting hall, and Jeremy shows up, and he walks up to me, and so was a BHT that was at the house when I took off, because you're not allowed to leave, right, you know? But I couldn't do anything else.
Hey, Levi Holt said, I was there for that milk cap
Oh,
incident."
yes, he was. What's up, Levi? Yeah. So, anyways, Jeremy
Appreciate you,
walks
Levi.
up. Huh? Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Jeremy walks up to me and he goes, bro, you got to snap the fuck out of it. And I looked at him and I'm like, bro, I can't snap out of nothing. I ain't faking this. So how do I snap out of this? And he's like, well, listen. And I won't get into everything, but let's just say that he ended up taking me back to the office. And this is the first time in my recovery this has ever happened, right? They sat me down and they said, okay, so, and I thought they were going to kick me out and move me off to somewhere. And they said, no, Joel, now we know what to deal with. Now we know what's wrong with you. Now we know what triggers you. Now we know how to help you. And they gave me an option to start doing this work, you know, in therapy. And it just started helping. It started helping. But I put in the work, you know. At the same time I was working the 12 steps with a sponsor, I was going to major therapy with a counselor. One of my favorite counselors too, man.
Shout out to Mackie Sherman.
Yep. And I'm actually continuing with her for therapy. Anyways, but she really helped me, man. But she really would give me little hints about stuff. She's like, well, just so you know, nobody does the work like you do it. And I'm like, really? I'm like, how do they get better? And she's all, they don't. And I was like, well, Mackie, I'm gonna die if I don't get better.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, I know. She ordered this weighted blanket for me because I would shake so bad, you guys, you would think I had Parkinson's, but even worse.
Yeah.
And I think the blanket was for her, you know, meaning, here, throw this over top of you and just talk to me because you shake too much and I can't finish this with you shaking like you are, you know. So she put this weighted blanket over me and would like do this, whatever it's called, regression, or you know how the
Some fancy therapist.
the stupid therapist stuff that works. Yeah, yeah,
That works.
yeah. It does, and it's really corny and it's really weird. And
Yeah.
you know, pick something in the room right now that you like, that's on the wall that you can look at, and it's going to be calming you down. Well, so I look up on the wall and there's this picture of an elephant. You see that big tattoo on the side of my neck of an
Yeah.
elephant? Okay, well that's for Grandma. All right, Grandma died, and she was the elephant of the family. Anyways, so that was my happy place.
Kelly says she feels called out.
Who does?
Callie?
Kaylee?
Kaylee?
Oh, because she's a therapist. Yeah, that's one of my good friends too, and
Yeah.
she is a trauma
I
therapist.
remember her from the.
Especially in PTSD. So I have them in my hip pocket, man.
We actually have a few on here tonight.
No,
so
we
that's
do?
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. There's
That's
some
good.
powerhouses on there.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome.
So let me tell you about this whole PTSD thing, man. It is the worst thing you could possibly find out you have, almost like cancer, you know. But once I found out I legitimately had it, they started educating me on it. They sent me home with books. The counselor sent me home with her books. She's like, here, I'm supposed to use this and read this while I'm helping you, but just read that for a little while. And one was on dissociation disorder. The other one was the big, thick PTSD book. I forget what it's called now, but then there was The Body Keeps the Score, just all this stuff. And I would read it, you guys, because I read 2 sentences, or like the first chapter in these books, and it sounded like an autobiography of my life, you know, the symptoms, you know. I was like, well, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that. No, I'm like, what? This is a joke, right? And it was just textbook stuff in black and white. And when you can see that there's a name for what you've been battling with your whole life, and there's actually therapy for it, I'm like, there is nothing I won't do. I mean, man, I was cleaning out horse hooves. I was,
From the prescription?
yeah, well, no, at the ranch, you know. I was cleaning, I was shoveling shit for hours. I learned to lunge horses. I learned to connect with horses. I had a horse therapist that did horse therapy with me. And man, I can't tell you the leaps and bounds and just, I tried everything, man. The breathing techniques, box breathing, big time for PTSD. I had a breath coach. I stepped into that. So everything I did, I found the biggest dope dealer, right, on the yard. So I would find the person that was specialty in that stuff. Yoga. One of my good friends now owns a yoga studio. And I learned yoga, you know, over again, like Kundalini and all kinds of, you know, breathing techniques, and learned it from this Navy SEAL, you know, who I thought I was messed up. This guy struggles with, in Afghanistan, he was a Navy SEAL. He walked into a village and shot 13 kids because he thought they had a bomb strapped to him, and lost his shit. Could not go back out into public because kids triggered him, and he couldn't see a kid. So he would stay in a room, you know, by himself. Had a physical tick, which I have too. I have a physical twitch that happens when I get stressed out. He had one too. He taught me about that, how to combat that, and I did that. He taught me box breathing. He said, this is what the Navy SEALs do before we ever go in to either rescue somebody or kidnap or whatever they do. You know what I mean? Navy SEAL stuff. But he showed it to me, and I can't believe the benefit from it. Then I met a breath coach who showed me even more stuff about breath work, you know. Anyways, this whole path of maintenance to do for PTSD, you know. And I've just been open about it. And that's why it's so easy for me to be transparent, because I've been transparent this whole time. So I will never like lie about what has helped me or what I've gone through, because it seems like the more honest I've been, many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. again, that's me in the book. They're talking about me. And I wanted to know how am I going to bounce back from this? When I lay my head down at night and all I see is my mom, who can't even open her eyes, you know, and you guys know James Dean, huh?
Yeah.
The Aryan Barbarian. He sat there combing my mom's head as she died. And I get this vision of, well, her and our whole life together, you know. Everything, the prostitution, her ODs, her being beat, you know, watching her prostitute, everything, man. I get this flash, and it takes me 2 hours to fall asleep, right, when I lay my head down. Well, medication helps that now, you know. It hasn't changed, but my mental health has changed. So I still have flashbacks. I still get anxiety. I still have these ailments that mess with me all day, every day. But I know what I have, too. One thing that Mackie helped me with, she goes, Joel, do you realize that anybody that has gone through what you've gone through would probably react the same way you are? That took me from a place of feeling abnormal to feeling normal, you know? So I didn't feel different. I felt normal, that I should be this messed up, right? And so just little things like that helped me. The biggest thing I was going to share earlier with my mom that helped me, I had a nervous breakdown. I walked into Northside. I had a nervous breakdown driving, and I pulled into Northside. I was living at the halfway house there at the time and working, and pulled in there, nervous breakdown, met with the doctor, Dr. Lauren Riddle, and Mackie, and they tag teamed me with therapy. And for 2 hours, I sat in there and processed this experience that like I never had before. I walked them through the whole process of my mom dying, and which was a disaster, right? Of course, the feelings were coming out. I was not able to process it, but I was able to feel it for the first time, you know, because I'd stayed numb. Drugs helped me to become numb. And finally she says, okay, Joel, now imagine your mom sitting right here in this chair, and there was an empty chair across from me. She said, your mom is sitting here right now. What would she say to you? And man, it floored me. I was like, and I imagined her in the chair, and right away, with no having to think about it, she's literally sitting there with her elbows on her knees, leaning forward, with her hands cupped like she usually would do when she was like telling me something serious, you know. She looks at me and she says, why are you tripping? Why are you tripping, man? You know what it is. And I was like, I was fixed. I was fucking fixed. And I was like, man, damn, Mom, I thought it was my fault. I thought this, I thought that. She's like, dude, come on now. I've been doing this your whole life. What did you think was going to happen? Was this a fucking surprise? And she had this conversation with me that fixed me, man. And so that's some straight up gangster counselor shit. You know what I mean? That I didn't even, I mean, I don't know, man.
That's some straight up gangster counselor shit. Yeah.
She helped me, and that day my mom healed me by, what do you call that? Whatever, empty chair therapy or whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm sure you.
Some stupid counseling stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That works.
yeah, it
I
works.
I
It
love
did.
the way you put it, man. That's
Yep.
phenomenal. What a great way to wrap this up, man. With that breakthrough. Absolutely.
Last comment, Joel. Marlo wrote, this has been one of my favorite podcast episodes ever.
Right on. I've known Marlo for a lot of years.
Aaron Yeager, another counselor friend of ours, said gangster counselor shit.
Yeah,
Fire.
yeah.
Pretty awesome.
I tell you, it's funny, the people that I'm attracted to now,
Yeah.
they're usually people that know how fucked up I am. Better than I do, even. you
People
know?
that are credentialed.
Yeah, yeah. I need certified people that can deal with Joel.
And when they're the ones that look at you and they still like they're shocked by it, right? They're like, it's like
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool.
it is, it
it's
is.
cool for them to witness. I mean, they put their life's work into helping us explore what can allow us to break through, to have that moment in that process where life unfolds in front of us and we're able to channel that and live good lives, productive lives, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool stuff, man.
Yeah, it is. And thank God for people going through schooling and learning that kind of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Comes through in the clutch. So Joel, we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Final thought,
Final thought.
some advice, some recommendations, something you want people to know.
I want you to know that, you know, you heard a little bit of my story, and I guess for those of you who work in this field, you never know what's going to help somebody. You just keep helping them until they're helped, you know. And I've learned that. I've learned that anybody can come back from anything. I've learned how resilient we are. It's really important for us to, I think, take the time to have self-care. And if you don't have friends like this, then you better get some, you know.
Nice.
It's super important
Awesome.
to have the support network and the social network that I know all four of us have, you know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joel. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I
Jeremy,
love you,
got
buddy.
some final thoughts?
I can't follow that one, man. That was an incredible thing to say, and thank you. And I'm humbled by your friendship.
Wow.
Really, really,
crazy.
just absolutely love you, man.
Yeah.
Through all the years
Yeah.
and everything that we've been through.
Yeah.
We don't talk enough.
Yeah, I know. But we do.
We do.
I see you. I every picture I see of you, bro, I have a conversation with you. You know. Yeah.
But Jesse, got some final thoughts?
Yeah, I love you, Joel. Thank you for coming on, brother. I mean, you know, piggyback off what he was saying a little bit. You know, recovery is possible, healing is possible, change is possible. You know, the four of us at this table are living proof. People can change. People can heal.
Absolutely. And tonight was kind of a heavy topic, right? We went through a lot of really meaningful stuff. So take that and use it. Go out and have some fucking fun, man. Enjoy your life. Do something cool. Just enjoy it, man. We worked really hard to get to where we are today. We thank everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. You guys are awesome. This is the most interactive podcast we've had. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Joel's going to send us off with his final thought.
Final thought, maybe a little assignment for us, you, them, people that can do it. The next person you see that needs help, if you could tell them, and it could be that homeless person holding up that sign, you know, just tell them that, damn, I just had it in my head, that that this is not the way they're supposed to be living. Damn, I had a really good thing to say, something. But that, oh man, just kind of
Just tell them you love them.
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. Just you could do that. Man, I really had it.
We appreciate you, Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good,
Joel.
brother.
We love you, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for being here
Thank you
tonight.
for your time.
See you
Thank you,
guys next
guys.
week, next
Thank you,
Wednesday,
everyone.
every
Love
Wednesday,
you.
7 o'clock. The other homework is next week. Everybody that's on here, please bring a friend next week. We're going to try to double these
Yeah.
numbers. Have a great night.
All right.
Thank you.